goodness. The Mission Impossible music after lunch was very appropriate, I feel. I want to take a nap. But there's no times for naps. How are you guys feeling? Are you feeling energized? More so than me, I hope? All right, that's fine. Okay, before we get to our next presenter, let's go over a couple of quick reminders. So our next coffee break is going to be at 3:10, and right now we're going to do another Slido question. So as a reminder, we're doing our speaker Q&As via Slido this year, and if you don't already have it, you go to slido.com and enter AWE18, or you can access it through AWE USA 2018's online community. So you select the room. We're in B1, or the Inspire track, and you can submit your questions and upvote questions that you like, so that the most popular questions will automatically rise to the top. So we're going to do another one right now, and the question, so go ahead and get your phones out, or your computers ready, and the question is, how many years have you attended AWE? I'm actually very curious to find this answer out. While we collect your answers, just a reminder that after tonight's content, please join us at the pool party, which is going to be so fun. It's from 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock at the Hyatt Pool, and the Hyatt is located just adjacent to the convention center, and then the pool is right outside the Hyatt lobby. All right, so let's take a look at your Slido answers. What year, or how many years, have you been coming to AWE? Let's see. Oh, a lot of first-timers. Oh, that's great. Me too. Somebody voted for me, I hope. And then, let's see, 3 years. Wow, is the next one. Cool. So this is awesome. Thank you guys for participating. And once again, for the speakers who are going to do Q&A, this is how they're going to accept your questions. So aside from providing me with very interesting information, that's what that's for. Okay. Next up on the Inspire stage, we're going to explore how Meta is transforming the way that we share ideas. So storytelling is among the most fundamental human skills, and its importance has only grown in the modern world. After all, whether you are an artist, an engineer, or a financial analyst, success depends on your ability to share ideas. And using live demonstrations and real-world case studies, our next speaker will explain how Meta is elevating our ability to tell stories with AR and transforming professional communication in the process. So, ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm, enthusiastic after-lunch round of applause to Meta's Chief Revenue Officer, Joel Mikhail.
Whether we realize it or not, we're all storytellers. I'd like to challenge everyone here today with this simple concept that we all are storytellers. And I don't mean just the creative ones amongst us, those of us who are in creative fields such as filmmaking, novelists, and marketers. I actually mean that all of us, no matter what field of work we're in, if we're in managerial work, creative work, or analytical work, and especially those of us in the analytical field, like financial and engineering, no matter what we do, we all rely on storytelling to share ideas and communicate more effectively. Of course, we all tell stories in different ways and for different reasons. Some of us use words, some of us use pictures or video, and some even data. But we all use stories to do our job more effectively, and some of us use stories to persuade others, to teach or train, and some to sell. At the end of the day, we're all trying to do the same thing. Transfer an idea from one mind to another without losing its authenticity. In fact, when you stop to think about it, storytelling is fundamental to us being human. Perhaps even engraved in our DNA from our distant ancestors, sitting around the campfire and sharing stories. And rooted in the fact that we are spatial beings who live life through experience. And storytelling is our way of sharing those experiences from one person to another. So how is this relevant at a technology conference? Well, technology has played a significant role in advancing our ability to tell stories throughout our history. But so far, every storytelling technology has been about condensing our experience into a limited form. Let's take a look at the evolution of storytelling technologies over time. It started with early forms of communication, which allowed us to express our ideas, but in a rudimentary way. Then there was the advent of large-scale media, like the printing press, radio, and television. Great technologies that allowed us to scale to much larger audiences and do it more efficiently. But it was still a passive experience. Computers finally made media interactive, and that allowed us to communicate and collaborate in new ways. And in recent years, we've focused less on hardware innovation and more on the rapid evolution of digital media. So what do all of these technologies have in common? They're simply descriptive technologies. They allow the storyteller to encode an idea and the audience to decode it for themselves. That takes a lot of work, and a lot can be lost in translation. Imagine using your words to describe a sunset. A paintbrush can help, but even a photograph does not replace a real experience. Augmented reality is the first technology that doesn't try to describe experiences, it actually delivers them. And in a sense, augmented reality transcends the natural evolution of storytelling technologies. To illustrate this concept, I'd like to share a personal story about my dad. He's a retired orthopedic surgeon, almost 80 years old, obviously trained decades ago in medicine, and used the technology of his time, x-rays, and later on MRI, and got very proficient at it. Now here's a picture of my dad in the Meta 2 headset looking at a 3D MRI for the first time in his life. Now this is a man who spent his entire career trying to find the story that's rooted in an MRI or an X-ray. And after all, these are just another storytelling technologies that capture the condition of the patient in a given point in time. And as powerful as they are, they're merely flat media that reduce a patient's entire condition into a single image. It takes an expert, a radiologist or a surgeon like my dad, to actually decode that. And it was always a passive experience for him. But with the Meta headset, for the first time, he actually leaned in and walked around the MRI and naturally grabbed and tried to touch it and naturally and easily sliced through it, put his head through it, and he was fully engaged. In fact, he was no longer looking at an image, he was actually looking at a patient. He inhabited the exact same space as that patient. And this was truly a transformative experience for my dad. I think it altered his view of his entire career in just an instant. And likewise, this was a transformative moment for me. First of all, I watched my dad become childlike. He was playful, he was almost elbowing me, having fun with the hologram, didn't need instruction, was all natural. And he was acting like he was seeing an experience for the very first time. And this stopped me dead in my tracks and made me wonder, how could a trained professional for decades have such a visceral reaction in a field he thought he had mastered? And that's when I realized immersive AR gives us the power to share experiences in a very new way. But what happened with my dad isn't unique or unusual. I see this every day in my role at Meta, I see hundreds, if not thousands, of customers have the exact same childlike reaction that my dad had, no matter what field they're in. This made me realize the immense benefits that AR brings to us, to both the storyteller and the audience. For the storyteller, it's a more efficient way to create or recreate an experience. And for the audience, it's a natural and intuitive way to consume it. More importantly, though, it allows us to have true human connection, where just like in the real world, we share experiences together. AR now allows us to share an immersive experience and connect with each other at a very different level. And this is why I'm so passionate about delivering this experience to people in all walks of life. Now I'd like to tell you how Meta is helping bring this technology to all of us so we could all start telling our stories. But I'm standing here feeling like a hypocrite. Here I am telling you the Meta story using slideware, and I think it would be more conducive for me to actually give you a demo and dive right into it. All right, so I'm going to put my Meta 2 headset on. And our wonderful team here can show the feed from my camera in the Meta headset, so the audience can share. All right, so this is the Meta Viewer beta application. It is the first application in Meta's productivity suite, and it allows us to do quite a bit of things here. So you might be familiar with the workspace shelf. I have several models loaded here, and I can interact with them directly with my hands. So if I grab a model and load it, comes up. We've added quite a few things. Now we have a plate where the model sits, and that plate gives us a lot of information. One second. So I get a lot of metadata here about the model, the scale by which the model is, the name, the version, where it's located. We also added, for the sake of productivity, additional tools on these side plates. So here I have a plate that I can configure any which way I want, and I can easily bring back with these magnetic strips. So I have the same setup again. And these, first of all, we are obviously delivering the immersive photorealistic experience you've all seen and loved at Meta, and being able to fully immerse into it. Now, if I want to tell a story, for example, I want to see how this product works, and I want to operate on it with these tools. So here's how the drone would be operating. And this now allows me to go from simple visualization to actually adding a narrative on top of a 3D model. And for example, if I wanted to take this in terms of this could be a sales presentation about how a product works. Now I want to get into a little deeper into the assembly, the complex assembly, manufacturing, maintenance, use cases of how this product is put together. So again, it allows us to operate on the model and start telling and sharing our stories. Meta close. Now we've added another interaction medium, which is voice. So we can operate naturally, whether it's hands or voice. So for example, if I want to open that model again, I say Meta open for. Meta open for. All right. And then with my hands I can interact. Meta close. And then for another use case, this is an interior design use case. I may be remodeling my home, or I'm an interior designer wanting to show this to customers, meta rotate by 90 degrees. Meta rotate by 90 degrees. So I can rotate this model, interact with it very naturally, and let's say, again, for this type of use case, we want a high fidelity experience where I'm looking at the exact details. You can probably read the text on the bookshelf over here. And I may have a couple of different configurations. So if I want to apply a different configuration, now this couch will change color. So let's look at that. So here I have a different configuration. Again, the ability to interact upon a model. Now, all of these tools that you see on the side are inherent to the file. So we're not changing the files. You load the model, and whether it has animations or explosions or different states, that automatically loads. Meta close. Now, let's take a look at what our early beta customers intend to do with this application. So here's an example from our good friends at Stanley Black & Decker. As you may know, Stanley Black & Decker not only does consumer tools, but they do industrial equipment. So this right here is a railroad maintenance piece of equipment, and they're looking to use the Meta Viewer for sales presentations. This is a very expensive and large piece of equipment that is difficult to travel with or show customers, so they resort to schematics and slides to actually show it to customers. Now, with my tool set on the side here, I can apply a 1-to-1 scale and actually enable a salesperson to take this in the field where it belongs and show it, and they expect a much higher sales conversion and lower cost of sales because of this technology. Meta close. Another very exciting use case is design review. So this is from an up-and-coming company, Soundbrenner. They build a musical metronome that's a wearable, and this is a truly global company where their team is distributed between Hong Kong, Tokyo, Berlin, and Utah. And with the Meta Viewer, they're able to accelerate design reviews in real time and be much more efficient and competitive in their time to market and cost of product development. Equally important, their CEO is not a CAD user, and he would struggle when he had a new design from his engineering team, but now he can automatically load it and see what the iteration is. Meta close. Meta close. Now, the most important feature of this application is the fact that all of these models loaded in here are plug and play. So it doesn't require a design engineer to export a CAD file, import it, polish it, and prepare it for an AR experience. This allows anybody in the office space to actually import their models multiple times a day, support all the general standard 3D model formats like GLTF, as well as any 3D web content platform. So for example, here I'm looking at a Sketchfab integration where this is connected live to the web, and I can browse and look for a model. And once I have a model, I load it up in the app. As you see, it's loading, so straight from the web. And with a simple, the model gets imported into the Meta Viewer, and again, starts sharing ideas. It doesn't have to be always rooted in CAD. And again, a volumetric. Yes, this is amazing. All right, volumetric 3D models that we can load in a second and start sharing our stories. Meta close. Meta close. I think it's my accent. All right, well, with that, I am excited to announce that this application today is available to everybody as a public beta. And I am excited to see what everybody in the room here will be able to use this in terms of sharing your ideas and telling your stories. But I feel like we're one step short, because I had a lot of fun. I was walking around holograms, I was playing with them in 3D, fully volumetric, fully immersive, but everybody here in the audience got to consume it through a 2D screen. The power comes when we're both, or multiple people, are able to share the same experience and actually have a conversation. So with that, I would like to invite my good friend Nate, who heads our platform development at Meta.
Thanks, Joe. So I'm really excited to be here and share with you guys a little bit about what we're doing at Meta to make it possible for us to share an experience with multiple people. So at Meta, we really care a lot about the design review process because we do both hardware and software. And when we need to present ideas to our executive team, well, let me show you how we do it. So Joe,
All right.
So, on the left side, you should be able to see my perspective of the Meta viewer, and the right you'll be seeing Joe's perspective. So now, when we want to show ideas to the executive team, we use our Meta headset. So let's talk a little bit about the Meta 2. Joe, you want to pull it out?
Yep, I have my Meta headset open.
So, as you can see, we each have our own perspective of the Meta 2. But this is kind of a very individualized view. So let's pull out the Nike shoe. Sorry, let's pull out. So we are having here a bit of a problem, but what we wanted to show you guys was collaboration in the Meta headset, but it seems like we're having a technical problem. So we will describe it a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, so obviously the value is in collaboration. This is the, again, first time we're showing the beta application, and we're prepared to show that at our booth. So I invite everyone to come, and we can have these demonstrations. But the power is where one or two people are able to share the same experience, whether it is co-located 10 feet from each other or 10,000 feet away from each other, and be able to have the same experience you would as if you had the physical product or the physical model in the real world. That enables us to be able to share experiences and no longer describe these experiences, but be able to use this technology to deliver experiences from one person to another. And I look forward to seeing what everybody here is going to create with that. Thank you very much.